Okay, I just want to talk about a couple things here, get on my soapbox for a little bit. Um, so as you can tell by the picture, yeah, this is going to be about Scott Weiland and him dying. I believe like what was it, a couple nights ago, something like that. At 48 years old, possibly from a drug overdose. It's no question that Scott Weiland has dealt with drugs, for the better part of his life. I mean, it's been well documented ever since he was in STP, Stone Temple Pilots, whatever. Uh, and it just made me think because it was a vice of his. It's funny because I had a conversation about him with somebody at my job, saying that it's funny how whenever he was on drugs and he recorded, he was like really good. Whenever he was not on drugs or in rehab or whatever and recording, he was still really good, but not as amazing as he was back when he did drugs and recorded, and just got me to think because I read a little bit of his like a little bit of info that was posted on Rolling Stone in the article that said that he died, saying that he had a pretty shitty childhood. He had a lot of he was kind of passed along as a kid and had a couple broken was in a raised in a couple broken homes, and his last name isn't even his own last name. It's the name of his stepfather. You know what I mean? So it was almost like his stepfather kind of took him in. And he's like, all right, well, let me assume this identity because my actual parents suck. That's pretty bad. I mean, and I guess it was he said in his memoirs, which I didn't know he wrote memoirs rather. I didn't know he wrote those, and he said that he was assaulted at uh, age 12. He was sexually assaulted, violated. So that is some rough shit to handle. I've handled very similar in the past as well, at similar ages as well. And so I guess it would come as no surprise that he would have turned to drugs with or without starting the band, with or without being, as famous as he was. Uh, because that really is a part of the rock lifestyle, is doing drugs, because it's extremely stressful if you are not taking drugs. Let's see, you gotta, especially if you're just starting out as a band, you gotta set up your own equipment, and you gotta book shows, you gotta deal with club managers, you gotta deal with uh, time constraints, other stuff like that. What songs are really good, what songs are not really good, if you're gonna play covers or not, that kind of stuff. And especially, I guess it's a thing where I think if you get like the more popular you get, the better you get, and the more famous you become, it's the more stressful it is. You know what I mean? That's why, although I'm pretty obscure and I don't get many hits on my videos and stuff like that, and I'm pretty unknown, I'm kind of glad that I am because I'd probably have similar vices to what Scott Weiland had. And I want to talk about vices a little bit, okay? Let's break this down. Let's break this topic down because I really do think everybody has vices for something, whether they admit it or not. And with Scott Weiland, obviously, his vice was drugs, but other people use vice to kind of run away from things that they need to address in one way or another. For me, I'd like to say for me that's kind of vegging out and not really doing it and kind of just watching stuff all day and not really doing anything and going online and going on message boards and Reddit and stuff like that and just bitching about stuff, you know what I mean? Like I've been accused of being, a toxic complainer, especially when I was a kid, especially when I was a teenager. I've backed off from that now because in my 30s, I'm like, whoa, I have to start acting like a man here. I can't be like a little boy and be like, man, this sucks, man. I can't be like that. You know what I mean? I could probably say it once. I could say like make a little mention of something that I don't like, but I can't I can't go off. You know what I mean? I can't go off in real life, but I can go off online, and I do that a lot. And you guys don't see it on YouTube because I kind of keep YouTube separate from a lot of stuff. But yeah, I mean on Facebook and on other websites where there's a message board kind of deal, I will like spend rigorous time, posting and complaining about things I don't have, or you know, or if I or if like what I'll do is, and I haven't really said this much at all, but I'll go on message boards that like revolve around like I don't want to say hatred, but more just like of fringe movements. Like there's a group that calls themselves Men Going Their Own Way, okay? And I'll go on one of their message boards or like a, what or like the message board of a group that kind of buys into their belief, which is the belief that, oh, let's just give up on life, let's give up on women because men don't get their fair share anymore. You know what I mean? And you know, and truthfully, I believe that who gets their own fair share? Nobody. You have to work for it, or you have to get lucky, or you have to be born into it, or something else. You know what I mean? Or you gotta find like-minded people who you can succeed with, and then you all succeed together. That's what happened with Scott Weiland and STP, right? But the men going their own way don't believe that. And I like to entertain that. You know what I mean? So I'll go on their websites of them or their whoever they're associated with, and I'll kind of agree with them. You know what I mean? And I'll dislike women with them. You know what I mean? And the problem with that is that one, it's a big time waster. Two, some of that is what I actually believe, and that's really not a good thing at all. Another vice of mine is just not really believing that I deserve good things and believing that no one cares about what I do. And not really believing because, I mean, there's a different, there's like, there's one of my high school teachers said this a long time ago, and I have kept it true to this day. I've been saying this to a lot of people. There's thinking or suspecting, there's believing, and then there's knowing. You know what I mean? When you suspect something, you don't really have proof or evidence that what you are suspecting is true. It's just kind of a hunch. When you believe, you have like you're kind of more convicted, and when you know it, you've been encountered with, you know, facts that back up your evidence, that provide evidence. And for me, this used to be this started with relationships because when my parents got divorced, I said to myself, okay, well, I don't know if I should really date chicks long term because it probably will end in divorce because that was the only relationship I really was around, was just my parents' relationship. So it just gave me a really bad what's it called, a bad reference point for that. And I'm aware I'm going on a tangent, but just hear me out for a couple more minutes. So I thought that I knew that that's what all that relationships were about, but of course that's not it. You know what I mean? But at that age, when you're that impressionable, it's kind of there. But when my dad died when I was 24, and how crazy is that? It was almost 9 years after my parents divorced. Actually, it was exactly 9 years after my parents divorced, when my dad died. And I said to myself, well, shit. If I'm gonna die that early, if people can die this early and not do anything wrong to put their bodies in danger of dying, because my dad died of cancer. So you could be the healthiest guy in the world, but if you get cancer, guess what? Holy shit, too bad, buddy. You're going down anyways. I mean, there's a select few who beat the cancer and they have the good treatment and stuff like that. My father was not one of those individuals. Sad to say, you know. And The belief in the back of my head was that, oh, let's just give up. You know what I mean? Let's just give up because, you're the only end to this is that you're gonna die. So, I've had those two mindsets, for a good portion of my life. That's why I've been very lazy. I haven't really been accomplishing things compared to my buddies, and it's not that you know, I really don't think it's because I'm not talented. I truly believe it's because I I just don't see a point. And this nihilistic way of life, this nihilistic point of view, that's been my vice, and it's been holding me back for a long, long time. And after seeing, after witnessing Scott Weiland dying, he was only 48 years old. Holy shit. It's only 15 years older than me. Literally 15 years older. Like, I'm 33 now. You know what I mean? So, holy shit. If I only have 15 years to live, holy motherfucking holy shit. You know what I mean? I better do something cool, and I better do something cool quick. You know what I mean? Fortunately, I believe that I've accomplished enough, at least when it comes to small term stuff, just, small things like bowling for college. I did that. Awesome. Cool. Uh, what else? Um, going to college when no one else really thought I could. The only real support I had was just my buddies and my family. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's really good support, but, if you don't have the support from, teachers and guidance counselors and other school authorities who probably know a little bit better than your buddies and family, when they're saying, yo, don't, you are not college material, sorry, you know, that kind of sets a fire under your ass, and that's what happened to me. But I kind of did that for the wrong cause as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, and the thing with vices is that a lot of us, I mean, like I truly do believe that people who have vices and people who have addictions, I believe that they do know that they do have them. They just don't care if they have them because it's what makes them function. You know what I mean? I mean, what do you define an addiction as? It's when you are, it's when you need a substance or a thought or belief or whatever, an action so much that you need it to function. You know what I mean? And that with drugs, that totally could have been Scott Weiland. You know what I mean? He totally could have needed drugs to function. Who knows? Do I need my nihilistic beliefs to function? Not really, but they make things make sense to me. You know what I mean? The world makes sense because I believe that there is no purpose. Trust me. If I was to try to develop a purpose, one, it would probably be like, it would be like hedonistic anyways, because it'd be like, hey, as long as I'm feeling good, as long as I'm not, putting anyone in trouble, putting myself in danger, as long as I'm not breaking the law, I think we're okay. You know what I mean? And that's kind of my belief as well as to what accomplishments are. You know what I mean? A lot of people just aim really high and they get really good. You know what I mean? They do get really good stuff. I don't aim high. I aim low. And I know that that's not a good thing because it can limit myself. It can work against me. It can work for me in some aspects because it makes things easier. It takes a lot of pressure off me. But I know for a fact, and this has been proven to me already a couple times this school semester, is that it works to my detriment a lot less than it works to my advantage. But in those times where it does work to my detriment, it really affects me badly. So, you know, and that to me that's a vice because my nihilistic beliefs, they are not popular. You know what I mean? They're not popular. They're very dystopian. They're very, a lot of people would say negative. And I don't think they're negative. I think they're just kind of there. You know what I mean? Like I don't think like the world sucks and everyone is lame and everyone just should die or something crazy like that. No, but I do believe that there is no purpose in this world. You have to create kind of your own little stimulations that get you through, get you by day to day without putting yourself or others in danger, like Mr. Weiland here. You know what I mean? Or breaking law, which he did several times you of drugs, you know? So I don't know. So, my message to anybody really watching this who is really dealing with vices, you gotta look and see if those vices really are hurting other people or yourself. I would say look to see if they're hurting other people. If they're hurting other people directly, then that's when you need to stop. You know what I mean? My vice, to me, it's just, wasting time. You know what I mean? Just wasting time, uh, denying that things need to be done. I missed out on two assignments this semester that I could have totally done makeups on. You know what I mean? Make up for half credit, perfect. But, I just said to myself, I'll be alright, whatever. It's just a school grade, fuck it, who gives a shit? But no, it's not a school grade, you know what I mean? It's something more than that. You need to complete work that's been given to you, even if you do it late, as long as you do it. Because it's not the grade, it's the principle. The principle that you missed something and you should get it, that you should at least try to make it up and finish it in some aspect. You know what I mean? But my brain doesn't work like that, and it really hasn't been working like that for the last 15 years until, it started getting older. I hit 30 3 years ago, and, I started to say to myself, man, maybe I should be a little bit more productive. Because let me tell you, a decade ago, when I was taking care of my dad, I was not as productive. I really wasn't productive at all. I would start a job and, like, end it, like, a few months in. Not because I was doing poorly, but because I was doing poorly, that it was like making my bosses mad, and I'd be like, hey, you know what? I don't want shitty bosses. Let me go ahead and let me go ahead and get the hell out of here. Let me quit this stupid job. I need to see my dad anyways. You know what I mean? So I feel like with laziness comes rationalization, and I really did a lot of rationalizing in that little era where I had to deal with to take care of my dad who had cancer, and the aftermath of that up until I got the current job that I have now. When my back was against the wall, that's when I said to myself, you know what? I could dislike this job all I want. I could hate this job as much as I need to, but my back's against the wall. I don't have anything else going for me at the moment. Let me stay at this job. So I feel very, very proud that I've been in a job for, what is it now, 7 years? Just about 7 years I've been at a job. It's pretty amazing. Not a lot of people could say that they've been at a job for 7 years. You know, and my vices were that there's no purpose, that kind of stuff. But when your own survival's on the line, I think that's when I can overcome the vices. But that is a slippery slope because, you know, uh, when am I gonna really become faced with a solution where it's all or nothing? And how healthy is that? You know what I mean? So, yeah. Alright, well, I've been running my mouth for about 20 minutes. I just wanted to get that off my chest. Rest in peace, Scott Weiland. You were the fucking man. And the rock world has really lost somebody, a really talented individual, a really talented soul. So rest in peace, Scott Weiland. I will talk to all of you guys later on. Peace.